In today's episode, after some thought, I decided to bring the Mercedes out and give it a wash, take it for a drive, and contemplate what the future holds for this car in the fleet. I'm not really sure where to start today. I just finished that cross-country trip, and it seems like there's a fair bit to do on all of the cars. Could still be working on the Celica, doing more underhood things like the valve cover gasket, flushing the radiator. I also picked up a set of wheels for this, so I could refurb those. I don't want to show them to you yet. I've got the Legnum engine on the stand, which I could wheel out and pressure wash and clean and get ready to fit the parts once they've arrived that I need to put in before fitting the engine to the car. Could actually bring the Legnum out and start cleaning the interior before fitting the engine as well, because that still needs to be done. There is work I could be doing on the 300, but that would mean having 3 project cars running at the same time. I'm not sure I'm ready for that level of commitment. And I think I do have one more video to make on this. I have to go away and think about it for a minute. Well, what seems like a really quick cut edit for you has been about 15 minutes of consideration for me. And I think what I'm going to do is make that video on the Mercedes just for something different. Okay, so this hasn't actually moved in a while, so hopefully it starts right up. Easy as. There we go. So new toy time. I've got a foam cannon which I've never used before, and it probably needs specific detergent which I don't have. We're just going to fire up the pressure washer and see what happens. The interior a quick vacuum. It's not too dirty because it hasn't been used much. So I realised after doing all the work on this car, I never actually videoed taking it for a drive. So it's a nice enough day, thought I would take it out for a bit of a spin. there goes that. So I can't remember where I left off last time with this car, but since then I think that I've replaced the airflow meter because the original one started causing more dramas. I replaced it with that OE video MAF and it runs beautifully now. Cruises along comfortably at about 100 kilometers an hour, nice and smooth. There was some knocking in the rear end. After driving it for a while, I think the rear shocks gave up after being put back into typical usual service again. So once I replaced those, the ride became silent again. The car drives very nicely. Still accelerates quite well at higher speeds for safe overtaking without spluttering like it did with the old mass airflow sensor, so that's a good thing, other than a bit of wind noise that you would normally expect of a car this age at these speeds. It's actually quite silent and smooth in here. I actually really like this car. I'm glad I saved it. Another issue I had is those front fender liners. Well, I've lost one. I accidentally clipped a pothole. Somehow it got caught up and torn out, so it's somewhere on the side of the road. I've got no idea where, but I fixed the rest of the fender liner, so now it's still fairly silent, but I'm not going to bother ordering another one. Nice smooth shifts from the transmission. Doesn't leak anymore, which is handy. This car is a far cry from what it was when I first picked it up. It was very filthy, it wasn't running right, it was quite noisy. A lot of those issues were fixed by replacing the suspension. Braking was upgraded by actually putting good equipment on there, not worn out discs. And basically all the cleaning of the interior really made a difference. I mean, it had been let go. It's happily cruising along at 100 kilometers an hour with the cruise control on, just wafting its way down the road. I guess the purpose of this video is to finally take it for a drive and show the viewers that it does drive nicely and everything's good in the world, but I'm also making it as the last video on this car because I need to sell it. Quite simply, I need the funds to be able to put into the other cars that I have. I don't make any money off of YouTube, not at the moment anyway, so if you see ads on my videos, I don't actually get a cut of those funds. Google's taking all of that money at the moment. So in order to get things progressing quicker with the other cars, I need a bit of capital. That's going to have to come from this. It sort of suits daily driving needs, but I do have a daily driver. I don't really need two. It doesn't really serve the purpose as a weekender. It was quite nice when I had some American visitors stop by for a week and I used it to cart them around everywhere. Served its purpose well and they seemed to think the car was quite nice too. So hopefully I'll get my money back that I put into it and can move forward with other projects. Now I just need to find a nice place to take some photos to put in the listing to entice people to give me their money. So that pretty much finishes up the series on the Mercedes. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it or not, which is why I put all the work into it, but I've decided I need to let this one go. On to the other projects. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.